by David Schultz.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm David Schultz. I'm Annie's dad. And on behalf of my wife, Sue, and myself, I'd like to welcome you all here today to share Annie and Andrew's special day, and to thank you for coming. I know many of you have traveled great distances to be here with us tonight, some from as far away as Queensland, and we really appreciate the effort that you've gone to. Tonight's Halloween. I'm pleased to see that we're all wearing our fancy dress. At the ceremony earlier today, I didn't know whether the groom and bride were going to say, "I do," or "trick or treat." Let me tell you a little bit about, well, in fact, before that, I want to compliment us on what a good-looking crowd we are. I mean, we wouldn't see a better dressed crowd at the Melbourne Cup on Tuesday. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Annie, who's been a ray of sunshine in our lives for the last 24 years. We're proud of her achievements in earning her degree and getting a good start in her nursing career. She's already had her share of accolades. In her last year at Deakin University, she won a nice $2,500 scholarship for outstanding achievement in geriatric studies. And that led to her becoming something of a media star for a while, as she was featured in an article and a photo in the Herald Sun's careers section. And she also had a write-up in the local White Horse Weekly newspaper. Although she was born and raised in Australia, she's actually a dual citizen. And you may not know that, but she's half American. She's really made a great effort to get in touch with her American heritage. After she finished high school at the age of 18, she actually went to live in America in the San Francisco area with one of her aunts for 5 months, and she actually was able to earn some Yankee dollars by working at Starbucks while she was there. So she had a chance to catch up with all of her American aunts, cousins, uncle, and she even endured a 40-hour bus trip to go visit her grandparents in Yuma, Arizona. Family ties are very important to Annie, and nowadays she regularly visits her 99-year-old grandmother in Blackburn, who was here with us earlier at the ceremony. And sometimes Annie brings one of her cats along for her nanny to pet, which she loves doing. And Annie's always been a go-getter. Even in primary school, at one stage, she printed up a whole bunch of leaflets advertising what she called Annie's dog walking and pet minding service. And she distributed these all around the neighborhood, but I don't think she ever got any actual customers. In later years, she was a pizza maker at Kohl's. She at one stage did a bartending course and worked at one of Costume Jew's fights at the Telstra Dome. And she also had worked some casual shifts as a beautician in Ringwood. She'd always kind of been interested in experimenting with different hair colors and styles. One time she suggested that she could dye my hair. So I thought, well, that sounds all right. So I selected a nice dark chestnut shade, which I thought would look very distinguished. However, when the wraps came off, my hair was a bright orange. And so I kind of looked like Chuckles the Clown for a few weeks until I could get a cut. Now, as for Andrew, I've known him for a few years now, and he struck me as being very industrious and down-to-earth young man, and even better than that, he's done a lot of work around, handyman work around our house, which we've really appreciated. Just recently, he helped me set up a high-definition set-top box. Actually, he set the whole thing up after I'd been totally flummoxed by the whole thing and had given up. The two, between Andy and Andrew, the two of them have a bit of a mischievous streak, and they enjoy a good laugh. An illustration of this is the toilet bowl incident. We put out an old toilet bowl on our nature strip to be collected by the council in their hard and indestructible rubbish pickup. One morning, Sue, my wife, looked out the window and saw that this toilet bowl was sitting upright, whereas it had been on its side. This made her a bit suspicious. Just then, a passerby came by, stopped and peered into the toilet bowl, recoiled in horror, and rushed away. So this made Sue even more suspicious, and she went out and looked down in the toilet bowl, and she was horrified to see that apparently someone had actually used that toilet bowl. So she was frantic about that. She was thinking, well, you know, some people just have no shame. This is terrible. She poured a couple of buckets of water and had to try to wash it away. And noticed that it didn't really seem to have any odor. But she had to go to work that morning and didn't have time to go any further, but she went to work and kind of groaned and moaned to her work colleagues that day about, how terrible is this, how could people be so low? Came home that evening and commenced to finish cleaning it up. And again noticed that there wasn't really the odor that you would expect. But she saw on the ground nearby there was an empty soup packet. This kind of made her even more doubtful about what was going on. And finally, Annie and Andrew confessed that they had been responsible for concocting a mixture of barbecue sauce and Dutch curry soup heads. And they had put it in this toilet bowl just as a joke to observe the reactions of passers-by. That was a classic. Another occasion, Annie and Andrew came back from the Queen Victoria markets with two baby chicks, which they put in a box in our billiard room. And of course, well, one of the chicks died. The other one kind of grew into this handsome red rooster and outgrew the box in our billiard room. They put him actually in a small cage in our carport, but he kept growing, and soon he couldn't even raise his head high enough to crow. So Sue and I kind of took pity on him and finally spirited him away to the Chesterfield farm in Scoresby, where he's probably still ruling the roost. But my wish is for Andy and Andrew to retain that same sense of fun and adventure in their life ahead. And I think eventually they might, like Schnitzel, live happily ever after. In conclusion, I'd like to repeat the wise words of a Roeville couple that I read about, who recently celebrated their 60th wedding anniversary. Their recipe for a successful